This is the weekly roundup here on the EAC Cambodia channel, your look back at the week that was in the Kingdom of Wonder. A very good evening to you. I'm Andrew Barnes-Roberts. Prime Minister Hun Sen says the country's battle against COVID-19 will be won. He made the statement in an annual address marking the anniversary of the founding of the Cambodian People's Party. This year, the CPP turns 70. The Prime Minister says although COVID-19 has meant there is no large-scale celebration of the anniversary this year, he says patriots of all generations will always be cherished and that their spirit will be turned into a single will to build a bright future. To beat the pandemic, the Prime Minister is calling on everyone to strictly adhere to the royal government's administrative measures as well as to the Health Ministry's preventative measures, most especially the 3 do's and 3 don'ts. He says this will help ensure that Cambodia comes through what he's called a difficult situation as soon as possible and into a new normal for the benefit of all. In marking the CPP's 70th anniversary, the Prime Minister noted that the former Khmer Revolutionary People's Party led Cambodia to independence from France and through the horrors of the Pol Pot regime into a new era of peace, national unity, democracy, and development. That development, he says, can be attributed to the CPP's win-win policy, which has brought a wealth of socio-economic development over the past 20 years especially. He says the party abides by its founding principles, a party of the people and for the people, one that stands by the people and unites. The Prime Minister says the Cambodian People's Party will continue to do everything in its power to defend national independence and sovereignty, as well as maintain peace, political and economic stability, promote social harmony and development. A young lion being kept as a pet by a Chinese national in Phnom Penh's BKK-1 is finally in the hands of authorities. He's now been taken to the safety of the Phnom Tamau Wildlife Rescue Center. The lion caused a sensation on social media at the weekend when images surfaced of him in a back garden on Street 306. But EAC News can confirm that this is not where the lion was first seen or the first time that authorities or Wildlife Alliance had been told about him. It was at this property on the corner of Street 398 where the young lion was first seen and reported over 3 months ago. BKK-1 resident Brandon Roberts told EAC News that he saw the lion on 2 occasions when walking his dog. He didn't have a picture as he wasn't carrying his phone at the time, but did post about the lion on Facebook. The incident was also reported to Wildlife Alliance, who confirmed at the time that they knew about the lion and were working with their partners to confiscate the animal. It's believed the Chinese national moved from Street 398 to 306 recently in a vain attempt to avoid the authorities. Wildlife Alliance says the lion is around 18 months old and is in poor condition, weighing just over 70 kilograms, and with his large canine teeth and claws having been removed. His former owner has been fined $30,000 for keeping an endangered animal as a pet. Prime Minister Hun Sen, in his capacity as leader of the Cambodian People's Party, has joined his regional political counterparts virtually to mark the 30th anniversary of the ASEAN-Russia Dialogue Partnership. It was July 1991 when a Russian deputy prime minister first represented his country at what was the 24th ASEAN ministerial meeting in Kuala Lumpur. Russia's Prime Minister, Mr. Dmitry Medvedev, represented the Russian Federation at Tuesday's talks in his capacity as chairman of the United Russia Party. In his remarks, Prime Minister Hun Sen said that Cambodia is pinning its hopes on the roles of ASEAN's political parties and Russia as we, quote, address challenges together and make efforts to create a better world for friendship, cooperation, peace and sustainable development. The Prime Minister said Cambodia is proud of the solid and progressive cooperation made between Russia and ASEAN, underscoring that Russia has been an important partner in maintaining peace, security and stability in the region. He pointed out that Russia is currently ASEAN's 8th biggest trading partner. As the incoming chair of ASEAN, the Prime Minister said Cambodia would like to see priority placed on the fight against COVID-19 as well as on the promotion of a resilient recovery. He said, I am optimistic that Russia and ASEAN can do a lot more collectively in this regard through enhancing trade, investment and tourism flows, among others. The Prime Minister also said that ASEAN and Russia must double down on collective efforts to promote the UN-centered international system with, quote, an open, fair, stable, and predictable regional architecture in the Asia-Pacific based on the principles of mutual respect, mutual understanding, non-interference, and win-win cooperation. Dialogue partner status is granted to nations regarded as friends of ASEAN. During last week's visit to Phnom Penh, UK Foreign Secretary Mr. Dominic Raab requested that status for the UK when Cambodia assumes the chairmanship of ASEAN next year. The request has been approved, making the UK ASEAN's 11th dialogue partner. Over 100 traders at BKK Market in Phnom Penh have tested positive for COVID-19. The number is expected to rise with more people coming forward for testing. Alarm bells were raised on Monday when the first cases were confirmed. The market has now been closed for at least the next 14 days. Authorities have urged everyone who went into the market between the 21st and 26th of June to have a test at BKK's Chea Sim High School. Those who live near the market are also being encouraged to come forward for testing. BKK Market in BKK1 is extremely popular with a high number of civil servants and expats living in the neighborhood. Chairman of the Bung Keng Kong Market Commission, Mr. Ek Nimol, says his working group is cooperating with doctors to locate those who need testing. He does expect the number of cases linked to the market cluster to increase. The market has been completely shuttered and is due to reopen only on Tuesday, the 13th of July. Phnom Penh state markets, like BKK, were allowed to resume full trading earlier this month. Private markets received the go-ahead just last week. The impact of the now infamous 20 February community transmission event is becoming all too alarmingly clear in Cambodia. In the early hours of Saturday, the 20th of February, 4 Chinese nationals bribed their way out of hotel quarantine to visit several upmarket condos and then a nightclub. 2 of them had COVID-19, 1 of them had the UK or Alpha variant. On that day, Cambodia had barely 400 cases and 0 deaths. Fast forward 4 months, and it's devastating to think what chaos that one night on the town has caused. Lockdowns, booze bans, red, orange, yellow zones, curfews, unemployment, frustration, and an unprecedented economic slowdown for Cambodia. Its first economic contraction in over 30 years, with many high-risk businesses, including schools, having been closed for 4 months now. The human toll is hard to comprehend. In just 16 weeks, over 50,000 new cases have been reported, including over 2,500 imported cases. That means those 400 cases Cambodia had in mid-February have grown by more than 10,000%. As of Wednesday, the country's total COVID-19 case count stands at 50,385. Cambodia has gone from 0 deaths to 602 as at Wednesday, with its highest daily death toll at 27. That's 602 families who have lost loved ones. Cambodia's healthcare workers have been stretched to the limit, but they have coped so far. 44,143 people have been treated successfully. In just the past 24 hours, there have been 670 more. Cambodia's Subcommittee on COVID-19 Prevention has released a warning about Phnom Penh's popular Russian market in Tultompong. A hardware seller has tested positive for COVID-19. Anyone who went into the hardware section of the market between the 19th and 25th of June is being asked to come forward for testing. Other vendors in the market are also being swabbed. The news comes just 2 days after a COVID-19 outbreak at BKK Market. Over 100 cases have been detected there, and officials expect that number to climb with hundreds of vendors and shoppers being tested. BKK Market is now closed, and if the cases climb at Russian Market, it will be too. The market cluster cases throw Phnom Penh's imminent reopening in doubt. The current administrative measures affecting high-risk businesses are due to expire on Saturday, but with new cases being found in popular and high-density locations in the capital, it would seem likely that those administrative measures will be extended, possibly for a further 2 weeks. Prime Minister Hun Sen has warned that Cambodia faces the possibility of a third wave of COVID-19. He says it is critical that people remain vigilant and that measures are taken immediately to contain the ongoing community outbreak. He was speaking as he chaired a virtual meeting of the National Commission for Combating COVID-19 from his home in Tak Mau. The Prime Minister will spend his final day of quarantine there on Friday. EAC News reporter Rhea Soko has the details.
The meeting was called as Cambodia hit record COVID numbers on Thursday. 1,130 cases were reported, along with 27 deaths, its highest daily case count and death toll, respectively. While Cambodia is dealing with a brutal second wave, the Prime Minister says no country in the world has been able to avoid further community transmission events, pointing to the situation in other ASEAN nations, including Thailand and Vietnam. He has encouraged everyone to be extremely vigilant. He's also announced a string of emergency measures aimed at primarily preventing any further spread of the Delta or Indian variant, which is far more deadly than the Alpha or UK variant. That was first detected in Cambodia in the wake of the 20 February community transmission event. With immediate effect, all new arrivals in Cambodia, either by land, air, or sea, are to be tested for the Delta variant. Quarantine for Delta variant-related arrivals will be extended to 21 days. Delta variant patients are to be treated at separate facilities. Only essential travel is now permitted to Vietnam, Thailand, and Laos, and all of Cambodia's available rapid test kits are to be sent to border provinces and all other points of arrival. The Prime Minister expressed frustration with the country's health ministry, saying it must get out of what he called its conservative mindset and give the country's provinces what they need. They've been asking for more rapid test kits, but the ministry has been reluctant to send them, even though Cambodia has over 1.1 million rapid test kits, with a further million on the way. The Prime Minister has also reassured the most vulnerable members of the population, as well as those workers whose employment has been suspended because of the pandemic, that the royal government has all the funds it needs to continue its cash support program. Rhea Soko, EAC News.
The Mekong River Commission is encouraging member states to share more information. It says this is vital if water resource management in the lower Mekong Basin is to be improved and if recent changes in water levels are to be understood, most especially with regards to the annual reversal of the Tonle Sap. EAC News reporter Rhea Soko has the story.
The Mekong River Commission says the river has shown an abnormal rising and falling this year. The report evaluates hydrometeorological conditions during the 2020 to 2021 dry season spanning from November until May. It shows fluctuations in water levels in the upper reaches of the Mekong in Laos and Thailand, as well as low water volumes in the Tonle Sap Lake. It has also shown that the middle part of the Mekong reached its highest level in 18 years in April and May of this year, but that this did not lead to a significant increase in the flow of the river as a whole. MRC Secretariat Mr. Anpik Hatda says that because of this, member countries including China should notify any planned major changes in their hydropower operations. He says this is an important step to gain a deeper understanding as to why the Mekong is fluctuating so much. Rhea Soko, EAC News. Prime Minister Hun Sen completes his quarantine on Friday, the 2nd of July. He has been given the all-clear to return to his office after testing negative for COVID-19. The test was taken on the final day of his 14-day quarantine, which began on Saturday, the 19th of June. The Prime Minister's barber was the one who exposed him to the virus. This was revealed by the Prime Minister himself during Thursday's virtual meeting of the National COVID-19 Committee. In his Facebook post on Friday afternoon, he says anyone now needing to meet with him face-to-face will first undergo a rapid COVID-19 test. If a face-to-face meeting is not possible, then meetings will be conducted online. The Prime Minister is keen to avoid a fourth quarantine period, joking that amongst ASEAN leaders, he must have done the most 14-day stints. He was last in quarantine in November last year after meeting with the Hungarian Foreign Minister. The Prime Minister appears to have made the most of his time at home, though. He posted images of himself last week on his exercise bike, saying that he was working on government business during the day and sitting back to watch Euro 2020 at night. He said while he was managing to get some exercise, he was missing the golf course.
An increasing number of provinces are starting to report double-digit daily cases of COVID-19. Overnight, Kampot reported a triple-digit number for the second day running, recording 138 cases. It has yet to start its vaccine rollout, but it won't have to wait much longer. 9 provinces are already busy with their inoculation drives, which will wrap up before the middle of the month. And Cambodia has enough vaccines coming in to keep its Blossom strategy flowering. 5 million doses of Sinopharm and Sinovac will be delivered this month. Prime Minister Hun Sen says 4 million more will arrive in August. He says the country had intended to secure 10 million doses from Australia and the COVAX facility, but has decided instead to buy those vaccines from China. Cambodia is second only to Singapore in ASEAN's vaccination progress. Over 41% of Cambodia's adult population has received at least one dose. Over 30% of adults are fully vaccinated. The plan is to inoculate 10 million adults by November. The Prime Minister says China has been a strategic supplier of vaccines, delivering on all of its promises. He says without China, the country would not have had enough doses to continue its vaccine rollout, and had it relied on COVAX, barely 200,000 Cambodians would have been inoculated. With the 9 million doses of Chinese vaccine arriving over the next 8 weeks, the country has now secured enough doses to meet its target. Another devastating day for Cambodia's fight against COVID-19. It has reported its highest ever daily death toll at 32. There have also been an additional 966 new cases reported in the past 24 hours. For 3 days straight this week, the country has recorded around 1,000 new cases across the country. On Wednesday, a total of 1,130 positive cases were reported, Cambodia's highest single-day figure. That was followed by 999 on Thursday and 966 on Friday. 192 of those cases are imported. They take the country's total case tally to 52,350, with the total death toll at 660. On the plus side, 650 COVID-19 patients have been discharged since Thursday. They take the number of successful treatments to 45,508.
Prime Minister Hun Sen has received a farewell visit from the outgoing Vietnamese ambassador, Mr. Vo Quang Minh, at the Peace Palace. The Prime Minister's spokesman, Mr. Iang Sopalit, has quoted the ambassador as saying that Vietnam and Cambodia's relationship grew stronger during his 3-year mission in the country, during which trade and investment have been prioritized. The Vietnamese ambassador expressed his gratitude to the Prime Minister and to the Cambodian people for the support he has received while performing his diplomatic mission in the country. The Prime Minister has assured the outgoing ambassador that the bilateral relations and cooperation between Vietnam and Cambodia will be strengthened, especially in the continuous fight against the COVID-19 pandemic, which both countries are facing. The Prime Minister also added that Vietnam and Cambodia will continue to boost trade and promote bilateral economic activity while focusing on other areas that can further boost the economies of both Cambodia and Vietnam. Prime Minister Hun Sen has wished the outgoing ambassador success on his next diplomatic mission.
EAC Cambodia's audience is growing. Our YouTube channel now has 150,000 verified subscribers. To mark the milestone, we've received the Silver Creator Award from YouTube, given to channels with over 100,000 subscribers. YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki says the award celebrates eArts Cambodia's hard work and incredible achievement. She says not only has eArts Cambodia brought a unique voice and style to the world, but has also created valuable connections and built a community along the way. The next milestone we're going for is 1 million subscribers, and we'd really like that Gold Creator Award. So if you're not already a subscriber, head to www.youtube.com/eArtsCambodia. Subscribers get all the latest breaking news and updates from Cambodia in English. We'll see you there. If it's happening and you need to know about it, you'll get it all right here. EAC News brings you updates and breaking news in English across all of eArts Cambodia's platforms and channels. YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and our website www.eartscambodia.com. Join me, Andrew Barnes-Roberts, and the rest of the EAC News team every day on your favorite channels. EAC News, Cambodia made clear.
The Ultimate Fighting Championship's roughest fight could well play out in court over the next few years. The UFC has now long dominated the world of mixed martial arts and is one of the biggest televised sports in the world, but its effort to swallow up the competition has now triggered a $5 billion lawsuit from those who claim an abuse of power. Two longtime UFC veterans, Kyan Johnson and C.B. Dalloway, first filed a proposed class action antitrust lawsuit in June last year. That lawsuit follows a bigger class action brought by 6 other former fighters. Both suits allege that the UFC has violated antitrust laws by paying fighters far less than they were entitled to and eliminated or ruined other MMA promoters. The $5 billion amounts on how much UFC fighters claim they've lost in potential earnings, pointing to the 50-50 split of profits seen in other sporting organizations like the NFL, NBA, and the NHL. The UFC is reportedly planning to appeal the granting of class action status to the lawsuit and has now filed for a motion to throw out the case. If both of these attempts fail, then the UFC will probably seek an out-of-court settlement.
There is a major restoration project underway at Angkor. The Apsara Authority is taking advantage of the lack of international tourists to carry out some much-needed renovations. It hopes to have the work completed before the Angkor Archaeological Park is teeming with tourists once again. The latest part of the park receiving attention is the famed Bayon Temple. The stones that have long laid around its moat are being relocated. Deputy Director of the Department of Conservation of Monuments at Angkor, Mr. Sim Torn, says the stones have been scattered for hundreds of years and include nearly 3,000 pieces, many of which fell from the temple. They are being carted off for separate restoration work and will eventually be returned when the Bayon is restored. Also under restoration, the famous Takao Gate at Angkor Thom, which visitors pass through on their way to the Bayon. The gate's famous bridge and roadway are also undergoing repairs. While the pandemic has kept thousands of tourists away, it has allowed this work to be carried out uninterrupted. Officials hope to welcome tourists back by the fourth quarter of this year, with Cambodia's vaccine rollout progressing very well. The focus will first be on the country's regional tourism markets, most especially China and Thailand, with possible travel bubbles being discussed.
With COVID-19 keeping gyms closed in most parts of the world, we shouldn't be too surprised that sales of home gym equipment and online training programs are growing, but you might be surprised by just how much. Fortune's Business Insights says the home fitness market is projected to grow from $10.7 billion in 2021 to almost $15 billion in 2028. While the pandemic has been seriously affecting the regular gym industry, the situation has inspired many people to concentrate more on their health and appreciate the small things. In Dubai, considered one of the fittest cities in the world thanks to its number of training facilities, residents are being encouraged to exercise for 30 minutes a day for 30 days in what's known as the Annual Fitness Challenge. One of Dubai's biggest Gym Nation, was closed for 75 days at the height of the coronavirus outbreak, but gave free access to members and non-members to free online classes. CEO Lauren Holland said that immediately after Dubai's lockdown, there was a huge surge in demand for fitness. She says the company is seeing its best ever period. In Cambodia, where gyms have been closed since early March last year, people are finding new ways to stay active and produce those healthy hormones that boost their immune system and help achieve a happier and healthier lifestyle. Those who can afford it have hired personal trainers or are using the internet for the daily fitness routine, but the vast majority are likely still enjoying their physical activity outdoors, playing badminton in the park, running along riverside, or taking advantage of public exercise equipment around the capital.
If you love your football, you're in for one heck of a weekend. It is quarter-final weekend at Euro 2020, the biggest sporting event the world has seen since the start of the pandemic 18 months ago. 8 of Europe's finest teams are all in action, bidding for a berth in the final, which will be played at London's Wembley Stadium on Sunday, the 11th of July. It's going to be a couple of late nights for fans in Cambodia. 11 p.m. local time on Friday night, Switzerland take on Spain at Russia's Krestovsky Stadium. It's their first meeting at a Euro Championship. At 2 a.m. Saturday, Belgium will face Italy at the Allianz Arena in Munich. 11 p.m. on Saturday, the Czech Republic take on Denmark at the Baku Olympic Stadium in Azerbaijan. And then it's the match the bookies have their eyes on, England against Ukraine. 2 a.m. on Sunday local time at Rome's Stadio Olimpico. If you have a football fan in your home, prepare for a very long weekend.
TikTok is ticking for a little longer. The world's fastest growing video sharing app has announced it will now allow users to create and share videos that are up to 3 minutes long instead of just 1 minute. The company says it has been testing the change with a large number of creators over the past several months. The move could make TikTok even more of a competitor to a giant like YouTube, which is clearly already worried. It recently launched its own TikTok rival, YouTube Shorts, in its own app. TikTok launched internationally in September 2017. The app has more than 1 billion users and is available in 155 countries and 75 languages. What helps TikTok stand out is that it's more than an entertainment platform instead of a lifestyle platform, and what makes it so attractive is that practically anyone can become a content provider. TikTok's product manager, Drew Kirchhoff, says, with longer videos, creators will have the canvas to create new or expanded types of content, and with the flexibility of a bit more space. While YouTube is certainly mindful of TikTok's growing popularity, Instagram is too. Instagram boss Adam Bosseri said the Facebook-owned photo-sharing app will soon begin experimenting with short videos. He says the company is testing new ways to better embrace videos, including full-screen immersive content. TikTok hasn't said how its longer clips might affect its much-loved recommendation algorithm, but if the data shows that longer videos mean longer app usage, we might just see less of the app's short, snappy, and strange viral clips.
Thank you for watching the weekly roundup here on the EAC Cambodia channel. More from the EAC news team in the Daily Roundup Monday night at 8. I'll see you then.